Hello and welcome back to the Crypto Talk Now Network station. This is Max, and I'm not doing another live video today on XRP. So I hope everyone's doing great in this great world. With that said, we're going to get into some of the comments. Please smash that like. And we're going to start off with the first comment of the day, which is going to be from the one and only Tim Shea, who says, "Hey, glad to have you here, Tim Shea, the mayor of crypto commissioner. I know it was late about getting the thumbnail made and the show created and so on, but nonetheless, glad to be here." Tim Shea, of course, is representing his fellow constituents of the 589th District of the XRP Army. Thank you for being here, Mayor Crypto Commissioner Tim Shea. Boom. The Aussie Life is back. Glad to have you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for retweeting our content and supporting CTN and being a big proponent, obviously, about, Stellar, Jasmy, some of these other ones, especially Jasmy. Thank you so much. And he also says, "Loved your last video on Jasmy scalability, Max." Thank you so much. I think we could put it to rest now. If any naysayer comes, you can basically tell them, if they say, "Well, can it scale?" You'd be like, "Yeah, check out Max's deep dive." Yes, absolutely can scale. Currently can scale with centrality, that layer 2 solution. And then in the future, yes, you saw the whole thing in regards to Overledger. For some people are saying, "Well, I have my doubts." That's why at the end of that video, I even referenced the other deep dive videos about Hyperledger. And it's not just the Hyperledger fabric, it's the entire consortium. All right, let's go further down and welcome a few more of you guys. Again, please smash that like. Currently, we're at 5 likes. Please smash the like. All right. Patrick Collier's in the house. Welcome. Thank you for commenting on some of our older shorts and so on. I did see that in regards to graph and so on. Thank you so much. Orb, a.k.a. Brian Dowie, says, "Sup, Max? Glad to have you here, Mr. Orb." Brian Dowie. All right. River's in the house. Welcome. Glad to have you here, River. Are you still on vacation, River? Let us know. All right. Hello, is it Brittany we're looking for? Lionel Richie. Thank you for being here, Ms. Brittany. Welcome back. True Dukel or Dukel. What's a goodie? Well, welcome, True. Not tonight. And remember, it's got to be double T on that one. Anyway. All right, let's go further down. JC, the man's in the house. Welcome, JC. Josh Cornwell, the man. Always pointing to his brain and flexing. Give him a follow over on YouTube at JC, the man. All right. As we go further down. Yes, Tim Shea is representing the 589th. Yep. Learn and Evolve. Darren Magruder has an update that we're going to share in regards to Jasmy. I saw that posting that you had. We'll definitely share that later on the Jasmy segment. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to advise people, please smash that like. I know the show got put out a little late. Maybe our numbers are going to pay for it tonight, but that's okay. It is a Friday. Sometimes people want to go out, do other things other than, listen to crypto, right? Anyway. But I do appreciate you guys. And T Lens, welcome back. I'm glad to see that you're a regular T Lens and part of this community. We really do appreciate you. Always recognize people who, are regular attendees or, part of this community. So thank you so much. Don't think I don't notice, because I do. Boom. Here's a dab from the Maximus's metaverse platform, or whatever you want to call this. All right. I get where you guys are coming from. All right, let's go further down. We got GT with the Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator avatar. Welcome back. Glad to have you back. Boom. And you guys got some comments. Welcome each other, all that stuff. Uh-oh. Are you waiting for it? Are you ready for it? I don't know if you guys are ready for it. Can we smash that like first? We're at 13 likes. Because you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, that's right. I'm going to welcome the one, the only, Boomer F it Sooner. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Boomer F it Sooner. All right. And thank you for tagging the real Elon Musk continuously. You never know, man. You know, you could randomly see it, shows up. That would be amazing, right? That would be pretty cool. All right, let's go further down in the comments. Also, on top of that, we have the one, the only Mike. He says, hi. Welcome back, Mike. Hopefully everything is well with you. Always good to see you, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Boom. All right. What else do we have? You smashed it 3 times. That's good, Brian. Thank you for that. True says, I've sincerely replaced hanging out and drinking with crypto research, so I'm loving it. Oh, well, cool, man. Thank you so much. That's quite the compliment. And you know what? Even if it wasn't on our platform, right? That's just good in general, right? People want to get more of that knowledge and so on. That's good stuff. Thank you for that. All right. Boomer or you guys welcome each other. Crypto Homes 777's in the house. And you guys are all saying hello to each other. That's good stuff. Let's use this as a bookmark. And if anything, we will get into the outline here in a second. So I'm going to jump into this. Here we go. And let's start things off with some mainstream news. Some people may not feel as though it's crypto related. It's kind of crypto related in a way. So this comes from CTN sideline reporter, Mr. Tim Shea. Let's go ahead and share this with you guys. And like you see right here, it states specifically in 2022, U.S. Senate passed a bill to hire 87,000 new IRS agents to investigate citizens' finances. You know, your papers, please, basically, right? Well, yesterday, the Senate, good old Senate, they went ahead and blocked a bill to monitor and audit billions of taxpayer dollars sent to the Ukraine. I will give a shout out to Redacted. Clayton Morris and his wife have been doing a really good job covering some of this stuff. Again, I'm not trying to make it political, but this was the report, and it does state the vote date was it yesterday? 2 days ago, my bad. The vote result was rejected. It shows these amendment numbers, statement of purpose to provide for the independent and objective conduct and supervision of audits and investigations relating to the programs and operations funded with amounts appropriated or otherwise made available to Ukraine for military, economic, and humanitarian aid. Now, if you're wondering how many nays they got, 78 to 20. It wasn't even close. There was 2 that didn't vote on this. Shows you more of these details, right? Who did what? Who voted yes? Who voted no? The yays were, it looks like 20 Republicans, but it was a lot of nays of both Republicans and Democrats. The 2 that weren't voting were Democrats from Illinois and Michigan. All right. Again, not trying to make anything divisive, but it's worth pointing out. All right. So thank you so much from CTN sideline reporter, Mr. Tim Shea, for that. We're going to jump into the next bit of what we have. This comes from, I believe, the Aussie Life or another guy that's very similar to you. So he's either one or the other, right? So Simon Greco or the Aussie Life, one or the other, excuse me, on that one. Let's jump into this for a second. So on this one, you know, we always talk about like the future of autonomous vehicles and, you know, society 5.0 and, Hedera is doing things about like CO2 emissions, trying to solve things, right, with the modern technology that we have, carbon credits. My dream of having a few old school Impalas from, you know, the early 60s. Am I ever going to actually be able to drive that, or am I going to get slapped with all these carbon credits? Well, that's probably going to be my reality, right? Well, let's jump back to what's brewing. Hyundai and Kia introduced a blockchain-based CO2 emission monitoring and, these systems for suppliers. Key takeaways, because we always talk about IoT, right? Especially when it comes to Jasmy. Some of these other ones too, right? IOTA, Energy Web Token, you name it, right? The Internet of Things. These IoT applications are beginning on the blockchain. Transactions between autos and other devices will be massive. So even though we report on like what's going on with Toyota and that Jasmy link and so on, with former Sony executives, got to give a little honorable mention to Hyundai. Why? Because of point number 3, Hyundai, as we know, that's a South Korean car manufacturer, real big, right? Who doesn't know about Hyundai and Kia at this point? Well, they are building on Hyperledger. Now, why would they want to build on Hyperledger? Well, a lot of key blockchain projects, as we know, have a common thing in regards to building on Hyperledger. Jasmy, there's Casper, there's numerous other ones, right? So I find that kind of interesting, and I thought I would share this with you guys. Obviously, he found it interesting, and we're going to jump into this. So Hyundai and Kia, like I said earlier, they introduced this, and monitoring system for suppliers. New supplier CO2 emission monitoring system, which is called SCEMS, if you want to call it that way. It's going to help establish a sustainable supply chain integration of not just blockchain, but even AI. And try to remember this when it comes to the integration of AI and also blockchain tech, because the last segment, I'm going to talk about Filecoin, about a key thing with Filecoin. And yes, believe it or not, I'm going to tie it into Kaspa. Yeah, even though I'm not personally invested in Kaspa yet, I am invested into Filecoin, so I could justify it that way, right? So pay attention to that. We're going to talk about why that matters too. But yes, the integration of AI and blockchain tech to enable accurate prediction of future emissions. This was reported actually today. All right, going to the next page about this. What about this whole thing with Hyundai real quick? So it states that back in March of 2020, 13 of the successfully spun off programs that were produced in-house, 53 in-house actually, from Hyundai, states that 10 companies have completed preparations for spin-off so far back in 2020, but here's the update. States in the early stage, in-house startups were mainly focused on the auto parts related business. However, their targets have been widened to include a wide range of future orientated business fields, such as mobility, blockchain, IoT, and eco-friendly materials. Since back in 2018, which is what, like over 5 years now? Unbelievable how time flies by. But since 2018, we have, as in Hyundai, I imagine, and Kia, because let's face it, that's the same company, I believe. They have expanded the scope and scale of the program by including the employees of the Hyundai Motor Group affiliates as target participants, with the goal of developing innovative tech and fostering an entrepreneurship for their employees. Pretty good incentives right there. On to the next part, it talks about how Hyundai has announced a new partnership with IBM. And for me, this makes sense why you see Hyundai using Hyperledger. We also understand that IBM is all over, Hyperledger like a fat kid on cake. So it says they announced this new partnership, again, with IBM to advance the use of blockchain tech. Hyundai has announced this partnership with IBM to advance the use of blockchain tech and cloud-based AI. What were we talking about yesterday? We were talking about some of these cloud-based things, right? We talked about centrality, that layer 2 solution for scalability for Jasmy. But this is something different, right? Right. And look what's tagged here: Ethereum, XRP, XLM, HBAR, Algorand, Quant, Casper. Well, my key takeaway here would definitely be Casper, would definitely be Quant. I guess we could say HBAR and Algorand for the, the carbon credit side of things and so on. But the key thing is Hyperledger. Think about cloud-based solutions. Hyperledger is all over that. So it states IBM specifically will focus on creating a new supply chain financing ecosystem using open source, like I mentioned earlier, Hyperledger Fabric. It doesn't just end there. The project aims to automate manual processes, reducing costs and lead time, and through that, improving customer experience. Now, you may feel as though like, all right, well, that's cool news. Some of the kids would say, well, cool story, bro. Well, it's a lot more than just a cool story. When we talk about widespread and mass adoption, you have a company like Hyundai, Kia, right? As the saying goes, word of mouth. Hey, you know what? This is really a great solution for, Hyundai and obviously the citizens of Korea. But not just the citizens of Korea. Last I checked, especially here in the Phoenix area and all over Arizona, Hyundais, Kias, man, so many people are driving them. I would say more people are driving those type of automobiles compared to, sorry to say, the American ones, right? Or Fords, or or Chryslers, or Lincolns, or well, Lincoln is part luxury Ford, but you get the point of what I'm trying to say, right? So when people see that this tech is being used and they say to themselves, well, this is like super simple, this is super easy, I like these gadgets, I like these things that I have, again, word gets around. Next thing you know, you see mass adoption. We talk about that flip of the switch. Literally all automakers will start doing the same thing. So I think this is big. I'm glad he shared it. Let's get to this last part real quick. How about sustainable management vision and strategy? They got this little thing right here. It says innovation with responsibility, mobility by clean tech. Talks about the environment, the social, the governance, right? The realization of human-orientated organizational culture, expansion of social value creation. My God, what are some things that we've been talking about really or lately? Yeah, that has something to do with this. You could definitely say Society 5.0, but this is not necessarily Japan. But also keep in mind, maybe in South Korea, they also want to do something like this. So it is worth pointing out, and I'm glad to share it with you guys. We're going to get into some more of the research and the content here in a bit. And if anything, we'll kick it back in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Smash that like. On the next little bit of what we have, we'll jump into some Q&T for a brief bit. Some big news that was dropped earlier. But nonetheless, please smash that like. Let's see how we're doing on some of the likes. We're currently at 20 likes with 30 people watching. Let's try to smash that like a little bit further up so we can reach a more broader base of viewers, listeners, what do you want to call it? People who tune in, kicking that YouTube algorithm. All right. So I double checked the other screen. Looks like we're good, but I want to welcome a few more of you guys, obviously. And in the process of doing so, I did see a few more people connect. I like how Learn Evolve says Jasmy Navy. I think Boomer is going to agree with that one. Yep, Jasmy Navy. That's cool. I like how you guys team up and do that. That's pretty cool stuff. T. Lynn says she is, says, I'm a Jasmy half millionaire. That's a great achievement, though. I mean, even at $1, I mean, that's $500,000. That's not too shabby. I know, T. Lens, you're like, that's right. Dust the shoulder off, right? But if anything, a lot of us, from what I've seen, we never really settle. Like, we hit our goals when it comes to some of these things, and then we say to ourselves, well, there's a dip, or maybe there was some kind of crazy thing that happened in the market, the tank BTC or Ethereum. And then we take advantage of some of those things because, a lot of times we look at that risk to reward ratio or that return on investment and it becomes even that much more appealing when it comes to Jasmy. Hence why you do see a lot of Ripple XRP investors who also hold Jasmy. I see a lot of Stellar people also hold Jasmy. The key thing when it comes to all this is not necessarily that, one tech is better than the other. Maybe it is for cross-border payments, right? We're not going to go there. But the key thing is people recognize the utility. I think people are recognizing that Jasmy is trending. And we're going to get into some of these key things in a bit about the trending and the volume, all that good stuff. We're going to give you guys shouts out from our community who have put this out and so on, such as Learning to Evolve, Darren Magruder, Mentellect reported some great info in regards to Coinbase. We're going to get into all that stuff. Please smash that like. Let's also welcome the one and only, the musical talents of Mr. Michael Montclair. He says, "What's up, guy? It's heating up and getting crazy." Well, if you're that enthusiastic right now, that tells me two things. You see what's happening for the future, and at the present, it also tells me that you're getting better, my friend. You're feeling better. I could tell because you seem a little bit better with the, you're typing, you're sticking out your tongue. So let us know, Michael. Are you getting better? Are you getting well? I've been praying for you, man. I hope that you're getting better. All right. Glad to see you, Michael. Shout out to you and the lovely Zara. Hope you guys are doing well. All right. Let's go further down. This is a good comment from the one and only Mr. Brian Dowie. He says, "Haven't seen it yet either, but Somo says it's top notch." Well, I must have missed something on that one. Maybe a scooter tricks or something. I don't know. All right. Further down, we have the one and only Magic Power. You know the greeting at this point. He basically says, "Hello, guten Tag, the Liechtenstein Exchange. And Jasmy of the Rice Crop Consortium in the house." Yeah, I had to throw in the Rice Crop Consortium. All right. Further down, we also have Kat Shields. "Hi, all. Good morning, Max." Well, good morning to you because, you got that big time difference. For me, currently, it's 6:22 p.m. on Friday, July 28th. So it's probably the 29th where you're at. But nonetheless, shout out to you, Kat. Welcome back. The cat is back. Please smash that like before we tick up into the 40s. Do appreciate you guys joining us here on this wonderful Friday evening. Thank you. All right. As we get further into some more comments, I also want to welcome, I saw some key person, Crypto Jedi, if I didn't welcome you earlier. Says, "Crypto Homes, I have a bag of bone," which he purchased. Oh, man. I remember that. That was around this time last year. Yep. It's kind of like, the girl that got away, right? Anyway, hold the other two, though, Shib and Leash. But I keep forgetting, that is right. I do hold Bone for the rewards because it provided liquidity. Yep, Tim Shea is right. So I guess I hold all of them. All right. So glad to have you here, Crypto Jedi. And on top of that, you guys are all welcome each other with all sorts of comments about Vaseline and all sorts of crazy stuff, having a good time. Congratulations. Kick back, relax, whatever you got to do, right? It's going to be a good show. I just want to say, you guys worked hard all week long. You deserve to relax. You deserve to chill and enjoy a good show among your fellow CTN community members and so on. I'm glad you guys are greeting each other. This is good stuff. All right. As I get further down, I want to also welcome the one and only Ahmed. Glad to have you here as always, Ahmed. I will state this, Ahmed. You've gone through about 3 different avatars. So this one is good. I also missed the other one, which I think it just shows you. But the one I really love was the kid. The kid is like, "Ooh, do you want a cookie?" Because he went and voted or whatever. That one was always my favorite from you. But glad to have you back. All right, Crypto Homes 777. Good day for Quant. We'll be at 140,000 holders on Etherscan in no time. Let's pull up the Quant chart for a brief moment. Not a lot of uber amazing things going on in the market. Seems like there's a little bit of momentum. I mean, we did tick up to 1.19 trillion. But I thought I would show what's going on with the chart. Let's talk about this for a brief moment. We'll kick into a few more comments and then we'll kick it back to the outline. Here's CMC, and like you see right here, I mean, Bone is still in the top 100. That's cool. Volume is up about close to 10%, 8% on the week. Something going on with the 1 hour candle, $1.42. So for some of you guys that really took advantage of, buying up a lot of Bone at 32 to 34 cents, oh my gosh, you're like ecstatic. Some of you guys maybe taking profits, some of you guys maybe didn't. But the point is, you recognize the opportunity. Shiba Inu, I'm finally back up into the profits on that one. I'm not complaining. And that one is now back up to 0.50. 8243. I had to read it for a second because I remember when it was 0.4088, and that's when I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? That was 11x for me. And I did take my profits, and then I got back into it. All right, QNT. That's the one we're talking about. Just a little brief or small little smidget of 0.16% on the 1 hour. But anything that's really over $100, if you see over a 5% increase, that is pretty big. For most cryptocurrency projects, like, let's face it, like SHIB and some other ones, if you're only up like a couple percent, it's, we consider like sideways action, no big deal. But for ones like QNT, that's a big deal. All right. So 7-8 chart, 4.27%. It's now up to $107. Hopefully you guys took advantage, right? Not financial advice, but I guess it sounds like it is anyway. You took advantage of the dips, right? When it was on 100, maybe slightly under. As the saying goes, we'll eventually get priced out of Quant. All right. Another thing I want to mention also, that a lot of people don't like Tron, but say what you want. It's in the top 10. Okay. I am still, you want to talk about diamond handing? I feel like I'm forced to, because I refuse to sell for a loss. I still have a bunch, man. I'm not going to say the exact amount, but I have a ton of BTT and Wink. Yeah, I don't talk about them because there's really not much to talk about, but I don't know. I just hope to God that Justin Sun really turns things around for Tron, but he gets a lot of criticism. Let's be honest about that. All right, going over my watch list, and I want to show you guys what's going on with that. Currently on the 24-hour chart, Referum, if I'm pronouncing that right, is up 63%, 136% on the week. Some of you guys are into that. Storm X, I think they moved liquidity around, if I'm not mistaken. And there's Trius. There's some other ones. I think some of you guys are talking about, hey, Max, can you looking more into Trius? I may. Nothing too significant after that, right? A little bit of Hex moving around. Anyway, kick it back to our comments. Just a couple more. Smash that like, and then we'll kick it into the outline. All right. I'm going to read this. Michael Montclair says he's still sick. It's getting old. Man, you're not progressing. Like, how about a little bit progressing? Come on, man. You got to give us some good news. All right. Boomer Alpha Sooner says, or should I say Boomer Alpha Sooner? I wonder how much QNT is actually still up for grabs. Well, I mean, I think there's, a significant portion, but significantly less compared to BTC, if that's where you're going with that. Anyway. All right. What is this? Michael Montclair, just curse a lot, snort, and call everyone idiots like some other YouTubers laughing out loud. Oh, geez. Like Crypto Hulk, basically. All right. Miguel, welcome back. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Miguel, thank you for being here. I need to turn up the AC, man. My leg's sticking to the bottom of this darn leather. It drives me crazy sometimes. It's like peeling off tape. All right. But glad to have you here, Miguel. Boom. Learn and Evolve says it's sad to see people like Crypto Galaxy talking big-ish about Jasmy. He's always screaming scam. Is that one guy I'm thinking of who thinks that QNT is garbage and that anything ERC20 is garbage? Maybe I think of somebody else. That's okay. Tennessee Ecoman, welcome. Jay Cryptic, welcome. Glad to have you here. Just going to read a few more comments and then kick it back to what we have. Cool Cat Crypto's in the house. Welcome, welcome. XXI Gaming is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you back, XXI. How many mods are in this channel? Quite a bit. We have regulars. So anyway, we have 589 mods for the 589th district of the XRP army. You feel plain and ordinary? Thanks. Okay, that's fun. All right. Crypto Hulk lives a quote 0 F's given lifestyle. That's true. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. I mean, he brings the fire though when it comes to the research, and I think that's the main focus. And I guess if anything, that should be it. Andrew Davis says, "What up, Big Max? Glad to have you back, Andrew Davis." Boom, and that's it. Menace, welcome back as well. All right, let's kick it back to our outline. We obviously have a lot more to share with you guys. We talked a lot about this whole thing about Hyundai, Kia, a little bit about that, the whole thing that happened with the Senate, right? Bad news. We have a brief little segment about QNT. After that, it's going to be some Jasmy XDC. So that's good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and share this with you guys. I'm going to pull off some things here in a bit. But nonetheless, yeah, let's get into this. This comes from constructiontrader.eth. Please smash that like. And here's what he reported. This was actually a few days ago. Some of you guys saw this, right? Very bullish. But I love that somebody actually captured this, right, in the interview. So it says, listen to this guy's language here. True. We are in need of a worldwide open source operating system. Worldwide open source operating system? I wonder where we can find one of those. He says QNT. We have the opportunity now to invest in the framework of the financial system while the architects are still drawing. I'm going to share this with you guys because, I already reviewed this and I thought, a lot of people bookmarked this and liked and shared and so on. So worth pointing out. Then we'll get to some of the other key things that even give you guys a little bit more of that Quant Papa research. Shout out to him. He might not be here tonight because of the time difference. He's all the way over in the Netherlands. But nonetheless, smash that like, especially for some QNT. Here we go.
I think taking both the question, Augustine, I mean, if you look at today's architecture, today's technology platform, which is decentralized platform, today we know how to program money. We know how to write smart contracts. We have many examples of tokenizing assets, may not have scaled at a very subscale level. What you are really putting an argument here now, which will be a huge undertaking, and I'm sure there's a role for private sector to play here. Somebody has to build this open, I presume, open source operating system. A lot of fundamental foundational coding has to be done to build this platform. What role you think private sector will play? Because to both Ivan's question and Sumit's question, I think ultimately the burden of building this open architecture programmable ledger will be given to the private sector to build. I can't imagine how a public sector will build this kind of. There's no example today globally where a public sector has built an operating system on which apps can be developed.
Yeah, I mean, what at least what we aspire to, is, again, as I say, is to build the heart on which different parts could be integrated.
Yes.
And from our point of view, from the point of view of financial authority, what is of the essence? I mean, the real essence of the financial system is money. And I think that's what we need to do to make it technologically malleable enough so that it can be have broader applications. I mean, and it wouldn't necessarily be that different from what we have today.
Okay.
I mean, today commercial banks have already, based on the foundations we have today, the two-tier system that has been there for quite some time. They have developed a lot of code. They have developed a lot of program. They have developed very complex back offices that sometimes you ask yourself, how efficient are they? And it has flourished by itself. But you need to give the key elements on which they can build on. And a lot of the elements to build on also has to do with other activities, like is legal framework, are rules, regulation, and so on. So yes, this is a huge undertaking.
And I hope there'll be a lot of private sector will raise the hand to support you.
I hope so.
And definitely Singapore ecosystem will be excited given you have announced here.
Private sector, public sector, baby burn more. I burn, baby burn like disco inferno. Augustine, no. The BIS lyrical is taking place. Messing with QNT, it ain't safe. A Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. All right, let's get into the next part of what we have. Here we go. And basically speaking, it is this right here. Also comes from constructiontrader.eth. And on this one, a little bit more of that QNT, right? So it states this right here. Just double checking the settings. I'm good. The current financial system needs interlinking to blockchain. Well, no duh, right? Quant network is tried and tested, and it works. Bank of International Settlements alongside the Bank of England have, of course, confirmed this. Everything that was speculative in the past is now confirmed. It's only a matter of time before QNT is in the top 10 crypto market caps. Well, let's be honest about some of this. Maybe number one overall. All right, this one's 2 minutes. Listen to the perspective on this one. Smash that like. Here we go.
It's certainly true that we can get some of the functionalities of tokenization of these kinds of programmability functions by interlinking the current system, interlinking the different components of the current system through APIs, for example, application programming interfaces. And we could potentially build quite elaborate networks of these. But what we say in the chapter, and I think this is a very important point, we know from the history of computing and in software that if we go for a more incremental solution, that's going to be easier in the short term. There'll be less upfront costs. The governance will be easier. But at some point, you're going to be held back by the need to remain compatible with the legacy systems. And the more layers you put on top, the harder those constraints will bind. And at some point, you're just better off starting with a clean slate. So what we're saying is, when we think about the functionality and what potentially we would like to do, this kind of unified ledger where we have a central bank digital currency in tokenized form right at the center, it can actually bring about many of the functions in a much simpler way. It's a much cleaner way. The challenge, of course, is going to be more that there'll be a bigger upfront cost. There'll be a longer discussion that's needed to get the governance set up in a way that brings everyone along. So there is a trade-off, and certainly there is no one-size-fits-all. And those who argue that a more incremental solution is best. I mean, there is also some point to that as well. So I would not say that that's a wrong argument, but it's a trade-off.
Yeah, it talks about trade-offs. I meant to share this with yesterday's deep dive video about, can Jasmy scale and so on. And in that, it talks about three key things. This actually came from, I don't know if it was either MIT or BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon, excuse me. That doesn't sound right. Carnegie Mellon. Sorry, sometimes read so much I get those two mixed up. Nonetheless, it mentioned that, for instance, there was three things, right? So it's like, security was one of the things that mentioned, and but you had to it says something like you had to have two of these. You can't have all three of these. And it basically mentioned security. The other one was decentralization, and the third one is kind of like what he was talking about, that trade-off, right? Technically speaking, you can't have all three, but is that really true? Can you eventually have all three to solve what your wants and needs are in regards to programmability, interoperability, all these great things that we all hope and dream for? But many years ago, I guess, with older layer one solutions and so on, That, of course, is some of the walled gardens, the silos that Gilbert Rudian was talking about. A little bit more of what we have before we kick it back into the comments. I want to show you guys just a little bit more to this. And again, this is also from constructiontrader.eth. Give him a follow. He specifically goes into some detail about some of this stuff. So, we talk about 2030, obviously, quite a bit here at CTN. A lot of times we focus a lot about 2025, and for a lot of us, right, by the end of 2025, that should be like the height of the next bull market, right? This fourth boom cycle. What's that going to pertain, and what's that going to look like, and so on. But 2030, that gets brought up quite a bit lately. Well, he states, as in constructiontrader.eth, by 2030, blockchain will have billions, not millions, but billions of users and trillions of dollars running through its veins. If you think about this, I think he's right. Currently speaking, we're sitting at about 7 trillion, give or take. We had to, of course, get, modern census to basically gather information. And, at least here in the United States, that's once every 10 years. But what about on a global scale, right? So currently speaking, we're at a little over 7 trillion. Obviously, by 2030, we'll have some new census reports. So you might very well see the number is up to like 8 trillion, could possibly be 9. You never know. But yeah, we will have billions of users and trillions of dollars running through its veins. Quant networks over ledger will play a massive role in, of course, helping finance to become fully interoperable. You literally seen that, right? The central bank of central banks, as in the Bank of International Settlements, choosing Quant to be the one. Bank of England chose Quant to be the one. And, an honorable mention to, for instance, the electronic trade documents bill being signed in the United Kingdom by King Charles. That's big, right? But when will that actually go into place? Like, the full implementation of that. Like, it's one thing to, go from having a bill and then have it become an act, right? Actual law. But when will, like, these things actually, what are the big dates? And then go from there, and also see some of these things be, like, here's this new cool thing we have, like, and the less steps that we have that are being put in place and so on. So we'll jump into the XDC part of this outline in a bit and tie it all in. But I do like this statement, and this is a true statement, especially if you've done your proper research when it comes to Quant. It says, Overledger will play a massive role in helping finance to become fully interoperable. Already mentioned that. But for them to use Quant Network, they will need to buy QNT tokens. And it talks about that. You know what I mean? Like, and for some people are like, well, I saw some people, this ruins the whole concept of, the QNT token. This takes away from the utility of it. No, keep in mind, it just converts, if you were to pay in fiat, it converts it to QNT token anyway. And we understand that, you can switch with the operating system as in QNT to, for instance, like Ripple's XRP for real-time gross settlements and so on. There's so many different hundreds of layers of utility that it's crazy. Anyway, this goes into a little bit of detail. We have been talking about Finextra lately. Let's play this. It's a minute 32 seconds, and then we'll jump into the next part, which I believe is from Quant Papa. And then from there, we'll get into some of that Jasmy XDC that you all love. Here we go.
What are we up to with that trend? Yeah, it's a really good question and very timely for us at Citi and the department that I work in, Citi Global Insights, because we just published a big report on tokenization and blockchain. It's titled Money, Tokens, and Games, Blockchain's Next Billion Users and Trillions in Value. Now, like you said, the potential for tokenization via blockchain, and has been talked about quite a lot in the past. And we think blockchain is quite different to other types of disruptive technology because it enters the sphere of money and value, and it enables us to transfer money. Now, we're not at the point of mass adoption because to be powered to mass adoption, it needs certain things. It needs the support of big ecosystem players as well as their involvement. So sovereign institutions, big financial institutions, big corporations, etc. And it needs collaboration amongst different participants, standardizations of platforms, interoperability, and compatibility with existing technology and software. So it's going to take some time. And blockchain is not going to have a, chat GPT moment. It's a different type of technology. It's a back-end infrastructure technology. It doesn't have that prominent user interface, which makes it more difficult to see and feel how it is innovative. But we think we're at an inflection point, and that the growth of blockchain by 2030 will be measured in billions of users and trillions of dollars in value.
That's very
Trillions of dollars in value. Yeah, I mean, it's insane, some of the price predictions. And some people who are new, they don't see it, but when they take more of that deeper dive into it, especially based on like certain metrics of, all right, well, what's 1% of these trillions of dollars of that institutional money coming in and so on. We talked about some of these things, like BlackRock and Fidelity in itself. I mean, that's $10 trillion in assets right there. If you only took 10% of that, that's basically double our current market cap of the global overall crypto market, right? And that's just those two. What about like add in another 20 or 30 different institutions? That is absolutely massive in itself. We talked about the whole thing of what was it, Corda a few days ago, and some of those connections and so on, and what that brings. That's why there's such a big deal about that. But anyway, let me kick it into just a tad bit more what we have in regards to this, and then I'll try to catch up with the comments. I'm going to get to the next subject that we have in regards to a little bit more of that QNT. This one comes from Quant Papa. Go ahead and share the screen on this one. Please give him a follow if you haven't done so. Yeah, keep in mind he had to kind of start over, but nonetheless, he did get quite a few people following him again, which I'm really happy about that. He is up to 655, still probably about half of what he used to have or more. But nonetheless, I do like that he's still trying. He's not going to let the whole thing get him down. But look what's mentioned here, and that is specifically QNT supercharges Wall Street with the over ledger. Let's jump into it. You've seen some of these interviews and so on. This is a little bit different type of segment, right? And then we'll show you the bottom part in regards to JP Morgan that was reported about, I think 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the 28th. Yeah, 2 days ago. All right, smash that like. A little bit more about Quant supercharging Wall Street with Overledger. Here we go.
So what could that mean, Gil, for the Quant network in terms of value, in terms of expansion, in terms of just business? Given that you have this pluggability now with a trading platform that's already got the door open to a vast network itself, what does it mean to have that first mover advantage?
Yeah, it's kind of like we're the infrastructure to enable this to happen, and so our code and our technology will be running kind of, if you think about it, Wall Street. It'll be running how institutions trade. It'll be running how people do settlements and stuff across networks, and how you can move a JP Morgan coin with a Wells Fargo coin. I mean, we can make that happen.
Do you think Wall Street are even aware of just how big not only the Quant network, but just this technology is going to be and how relevant it's going to be in the future?
Yes, they have recognized, and I think it's only been in the last 6 months, 9 months, they have recognized the potential. They've been looking at it for the last couple of years, thinking, what is this? Is this good for us? Should we look at it? Now that they see the potential, and they're all in. I mean, it's reshaping how Wall Street operates, because it's not a technology benefit only. It's actually a business benefit. So you get access to more investors, more institutions, more assets, more markets,
right?
And so for them, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean, have you guys seen the latest Overledger trailer, right? They have quite a few. Always continues to impress. I get chills sometimes even just watch it, like a feel-good chill, if you will. Anyway, I'm going to jump back to the bottom part of what we have from that video, because there's a little bit more. I was talking about what was reported from the 26th. It goes into some of these key highlights, right? So I want to share this with you guys, and this is actually from the official Quant network, 133,000 followers. And it goes into mention this on the 26th, right? So Gilbert Verdian, as we know, was featured on CNBC's Crypto World, right? I showed you guys that deep dive video talking about that, showed the exclusive. And here's another thing, right? So it says banking giants such as JP Morgan and Citi want to supercharge Wall Street. Again, you gotta love how Quant Papa takes these snippets from the past and ties it into the present. Beautifully done. I do the same thing on like what? Proof in the pudding? The Jasmy video, the Jasmy Q&T video last night, right? You gotta understand what they built in the past, right? To give you an idea of like where we're at in the present, right? So that's a different type of subject, but nonetheless, look at this. Look at this quote. This technology has the capability to revolutionize financial market infrastructure, says Umar Farouk of JP Morgan. We make it simple, right? So I'm going to pull this up, and Quant Network basically says learn more about how Overledger makes tokenization simple, trusted, and future-proof. All these things are literally mentioned in that trailer, right? And I might play that trailer a little bit later. It's only like a minute or so. Really good feel-good moment, if you will. But I'm going to show you guys this for a brief moment. And on this one, this was on July 21st, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I would just kind of show it to you guys. So let me pull this up. Let me see if I can play it. All right, let's see if it just loads up for a second. Yep, it will. And we'll show you guys this for just a brief moment. It comes from Crypto World, and it's basically how banks like JP Morgan and Citi want to put Wall Street on a blockchain. Might not play the whole thing. We'll see, because it's about 11 minutes. I play like maybe about 5, but nonetheless, smash that like. Here we go, because this is exactly what Gilbert Verdian was talking about a few years ago.
This is the New York Stock Exchange, where investors make upwards of 1 billion trades in a single day. Many of those trades happen in a matter of milliseconds, except not really. Trades on Wall Street actually take days to settle, and lots of people to make them happen.
Take market makers, for instance. They're the middlemen handling all those trades on Wall Street, and the top 5 market makers handle nearly 30% of all trades.
The truth is, these intermediaries help with volatility, but they also create a gap between buyers and sellers in markets. And there are a lot of gaps throughout the financial system. Ever noticed how long some bank transfers take?
You think about infrastructure, and I mean large-scale financial infrastructure, globally or nationally or whatever. It is actually a highly siloed infrastructure, generally speaking. So money moves on one set of rails, assets move on a different set of rails, et cetera, et cetera.
Banking titans like JP Morgan, Citi, and Goldman Sachs think they have a solution. They want to push the American financial system into the next generation, and they need to borrow a tool from crypto, blockchains, on which they would tokenize various assets.
Digital first economy that we're moving towards is really important. As our clients embark on this digital journey, being able to move money 24/7, 365 in a programmable fashion with always on is what we really want to enable our clients.
Analysts at Citi actually think tokenization using blockchains could become a $5 trillion industry by 2030. So why do these big banks think blockchain technology can turbocharge the financial system? And can they actually pull it off?
All right. Think about what was mentioned for a brief moment. The middleman, right? Basically, is it like that middleman to Wall Street? Well, how do you have a middleware, right, to Wall Street? Well, check this out for just a brief moment. And we talked about this, of course, obviously, in that deep dive from last night. But, I want to show you this because, it was kind of a nice thing to kind of reference, right? So here it is. And this actually comes straight from the Quant network, right? And like you see right here, what's it say? Plain as day. Favor interoperability options that provide a layer of what? Blockchain abstraction, middleware to your applications. Like, I'm not making it up. And which handle the complexities of interoperating across blockchains. Now, Gartner, I don't know if you guys follow them on YouTube and so on. They do a lot of like that documentary style, I guess you could say, educational content about different technologies and so on. I actually use them in one of my other deep dives, not the previous one. But Gartner Inc., as you can see right here, right, it says hype cycle for blockchain back in 2021. Of course, you can learn more about Quant Network and so on. But yeah, that middleware, right? Now, there's, of course, Morpheus Network, like, Tokenizer was talking about, right? They're like a middleman as well, but not exactly the same type of thing in regards to Quant Network, right? I guess you could say that they're the middleman when it comes to supply chain. Now, when we jump more into this, I want to show you guys another key finding here real quick. It talks about, middleware or middleman, if you will. And this one is referenced, of course, from Reddit. I use Reddit for, I don't know, my crypto tool belt, if you will, my utility tool belt. Crypto Twitter, Reddit, other sources, right? You got to. You can't count on the mainstream to educate you on anything. Quant Network will be releasing enterprise add-on services which provide additional features which can be consumed as middleware. These will be released with updates. Well, that already happened, right? But nice to, of course, validate some of these key findings. Just to jump back to a little bit more of what we have, I'm going to show you guys this. This comes from the one and only Tokenizer. In my opinion, he's the GOAT of research. A lot of times we have these little charts for you guys, right? So I'm going to full screen this one. You guys have seen in the past the ones that we've had. Nice to get a little update on some of this stuff, right? So this one is really cool. I've gone ahead and liked and retweeted this. If you follow me on crypto Twitter, at DPG Maximus, you can definitely pull this off of my Twitter if you like. But look what's referenced here. Earlier we were talking about Hyundai. We were talking about Kia, right? So look at this. Automotive already, right? The industry innovations with blockchain tech. Okay. This again comes from Tokenizer. You did a really good job with this. You have, for instance, blocks.move, Mobi, BMW, Volkswagen, Jaguar. But the ones that are the technologies are part of that. Energy Web Token, IOTA. I believe that bottom one is Constellation DAG, the Air Force connection. Logistics. We're always talking about logistics, right? You have VeChain. Obviously, Morpheus Network, right? A lot of people feel as though if you own VeChain, you should own both, right? If I'm going to own Stellar's XLM and Ripple's XRP, I should own, those two go in hand, right? VeChain and Morpheus Network. People feel as though those go both in hand. I also like how XDC is part of that mix of logistics because it is the trade finance industry. And if anything, look what happened with that, right? So you see UPS, FedEx, again, like these are big names that we're all familiar with. On the bottom left, it's kind of hard to see in regards to the government. You got ISO, obviously, it's not just 222. I mean, there's so many different ISO standards. Gilbert Verdian created the ISO TC307 standard for Quant's Overledger platform. But even government, back to I mentioned earlier, you got some of these other ones, right? Where we just talked about, Constellation DAG, that was on the top, but LACchain, we understand what Quant's doing for the government of, I should say the government, but the Latin American countries through LACchain, providing them the services of the underserved or no access areas. How about legal IP, like, compliance? Remember how we talked about IPv with Casper? Well, there is IPv, right? Left center, you have Casper. Obviously, I just mentioned that. Hedera. I was criticized for saying KPMG is not part of any of this. Well, eat your heart out, Mr. You-know-who. Not going to say his name anymore. KPMG is referenced right there. I wasn't making that up. I don't make up anything unless I got to have something to back it up. Right? A person's going to see through it if you don't have something, if you can't back up what you say. All right, media, right? Meta. I'm not a big fan of Meta. I think most people aren't big fans of that either. There's Vice. How about some of the multi ones, right? Obviously, Algorand, IOTA. Again, KPMG's listed. Anyway, Casper, Hedera, LACchain, Inatba, right? IBM, Constellation DAG again, Quant. And then look how it's all tied in. Automotive, track automotive life cycle, history. I'm not going to read all of this, but identity. You know how many times we talked about like especially on yesterday's deep dive about identity, how is Jasmy going to scale, and what layer 2 blockchain solution are they going to use for that layer 2? But if anything, provide some sort of identity, right? So he literally says self-ownership of registered ID, tamper-proof information, increase distributed security. It's one thing to talk about Society 5.0. It's one thing to, talk about the Internet of Things and so on, but what current platform do you have that's going to help you be able to accomplish some of these things? Hence why we did mention centrality the other day, right? So I feel as though that's a pit stop for Jasmy when it comes to scalability, because it's only 1,000 TPS. Future maximum scalability, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron. I mean, the whole point of scalability is to scale higher and higher and higher. But yes, over ledger. And look at all the compliance, legal IP, banking, finance, cloud. Always talk about cloud, healthcare, Ripple's connection to Care Project, Jasmy's connection to Care Project, other ones, obviously, insurance, license, registry, logistics. We gave you those examples, energy, media, real estate. Give a shout out to you guys that own Rio, the tokenization of real estate. Even Quant, I did that update about their tokenization of real estate. We haven't done a deep dive about Propi yet, their tokenization of real estate. All right, let me come back into the frame, but the key thing is understanding some of these key things. Why does it matter, and what cryptocurrencies are tied into these specific blockchains, these distributed ledger technologies? Hedera, for instance, is not even a blockchain, right? It's that gossip protocol, the hash graph consensus. Dr. Lehman Barrett explains it so eloquently, right? It's a beautiful thing. I'm glad to be invested in that. Hence why Hedera still ranked my number 5. All right, I'm going to show you guys just a tad bit more from the one and only Tokenizer. Please smash that like. And if anything, he's trying to do his brand awareness. Thought I'd kind of help him out a little bit in that regard. He mentions some other key things here. The blockchain industry continues to see rapid adoption. It does, every company and sector shown in this mind map has begun adopting / building with blockchain in some way or form already. True. And of course, you can learn more about this, right? He's got this whole thing. I have the Tokenizer network. You should join him. I would recommend it. People call him the GOAT of research. He is. He doesn't just cover one, right? I understand some people they really do well. I will give a shout out to Crypto Hulk. He does an excellent job of covering Stellar and XRP and a little bit QNT and so on. I'm telling you flat out though, when it comes to all of it, all the ones that are you want to diversify your portfolio, you think you own a good amount of crypto. I think I own a decent amount. I don't own all of it, right? I need to own a lot of this stuff. I'll be honest. I don't own all of it yet. I own a good amount, but I need to get myself some Morpheus network. Maybe I finally do, get on the train for VeChain, right? I know I need to own some DEG, right? I know need to own some Kaspa, and I will here soon. But there's some other solid good ones here. I obviously recently joined up with IOTA. I was more than glad to triple my bag of Algorand. The Energy Web Token. I mean, for Tokenizer to come on our show and say, Energy Web Token Max is my number 2 right next to Quant. I don't take that lightly. Trust me, I don't. Anyway, we'll get into a little bit more of what we have. Please smash that like. Let's kick it back to the comments because we definitely need to do so. And last comment was at 6:30, so I am kind of a little bit behind the comments, but I'll catch up. Glad to have you guys here. I want to recognize this guy, Mr. Brian Riley. Welcome back. Thank you so much for your continued support. So, hey, Max and gang, thank you again. Got to turn on another logo. And let's see what else we got. That Hulk is as good as Larry at those deep dives. Well, depending on what deep dives you're talking about, I think that's where you're going with that. That's okay. Let's go further down into some more comments. You guys are talking about Kaspa. That's good stuff. And Learning Vol says Kaspa to the moon. All right. Let's go further down. Bring me Solo and the Wookiee. Yeah. Bacon is bad for you, Oh, you guys are talking about that mud butt again, huh? Anyway, all right, let's go further down. Staking rewards with Adam. That's good stuff. Rashad Williams, welcome back. I think about the same thing with at least 5 QNT. Okay. All right. Glad you guys having conversations. That's good stuff. Tennessee Eco Man, and by all means, guys, give Tennessee Eco Man a warm welcome. Right? I don't know if I've seen you here before, but I'd like to welcome you. I think it's always great to have newcomers here at our show. He says the top 10 will look totally different in a year, so I couldn't agree more. I mean, you know how I referenced Tron earlier? Am I really going to be led to believe that Tron is going to stay in the top 10 when you have like Stellar killing it, XDC just slaying and taking names? Everything that, you know, for instance, QNT's got going on. QNT might be a little bit more of a slower build up to that, but you better believe that a combination of two things will happen: price shock and supply shock. Probably the supply shock first. All right, let's get in more into the comments. Just a couple more. Larry of CTN, hit the like for my brother Max. Well, thank you, Larry. I love it when they call me Quant Papa. He says, let's welcome back Jeffrey Shea. You need some H-bar, Cool Cat. You sold it all for a 3x, huh? Well, if anything, you know, took your profits. It's still, you know, it's still undervalued, so you had to do what you had to do. All right. Well, thank you for that. All right, just a couple more comments. Anything specifically? Here's a question. I like this. River. So Wall Street is gonna run because of QNT. Well, one of many reasons. Another thing that they are really, really into is Relio. Again, watch that deep dive video. Some of you guys did, some of you guys didn't. That's okay. I don't expect you to watch like all our content, but it does show some guys that are connected to Relio. Literally, they're like, you know, we talk about like, is this tied into Wall Street? Right? Some people say that. Well, yeah, you have literally these guys at the opening bell. And, you know, I think some of you guys also do a little bit of leverage on Relio because it's constantly up and down. Maybe you short it, maybe you long it. I think long term, short term, whatever you're doing with Relio is pretty solid. We'll try to give you some more Relio updates. We understand that we have a little bit of a decent following for Rio. And I'll try to get more into that. There's only so much time in a day, and there's a lot of projects, obviously, to continuously cover. And especially like Kaspa will be one that we'll start covering on a regular basis here soon. So it's just another one to add, you know, that notch on the belt, if you will. All right. Gonna read just maybe a couple more. Cool Cat says, once I get to 5 or 6 UNT, I'll just trade them for Atom or XLM. Jeez. All right. XRP and XLM run first. I can get back into other projects later. All right. Just how about 2 more? Jeffrey Shea, Quant will be so huge by 2030. We will never see $100 price again after 2025. That's a good point. Excuse me. Cool Cat Crypto. If QNT hits $1 trillion market cap, the price would be around $100,000. You think? That sounds about right. I did that video talking about $15,000 QNT just off of the metaverse alone. That's lowballing it based off of because we saw the report by 2030, metaverse is supposed to be worth anywhere between $8 trillion to $13 trillion. So I said if QNT even just captures 2.85% of the metaverse, that puts it at a current market cap of what Ethereum is, right? Which was 200 and some odd $1 billion, right? And that put QNT at a $15,000 QNT just off of the metaverse alone. So I think it's more than achievable. Yeah, so 100,000. If BTC was up in the trillions, what was BTC before? I can't remember. I don't know, 1.8 trillion off of that alone, maybe even higher. I think it's more than achievable. I really, truly believe that. All right. How about just one more comment? AZ Marine Sniper. Her Jasmy is going to be on Bybit Exchange. All right. I did see something about that like maybe a week or so ago. I have to double check that. All right. Welcome back, AZ Marine Sniper. Let's kick it back to our outline. And let's see what's the next part of what we have in regards to all this. Of course, shared you some of that stuff from Tokenizer. All right, we are done with the QNT segment. We definitely should give some proper attention to what's been happening in XDC. I got a little bit of criticism about this. Nothing bad. I mean, I don't know if it's criticism. Just this guy in the comments recorded video from the XLM. He was like, man, he's like, you need to do a XDC video. Well, here you go. Here's some XDC. And you know what? We've been covering this for over a year now and so on. So shout out to you guys who got XDC like under 2 cents, right? You are so ecstatic. And how about this? A bigger shout out to you guys who not only hold XDC, like you have some GBEX, you have some XSwap, especially XSwap, right? Maybe some guys took profits when it was just going parabolic a few days ago, right? I even called up Mike Cornwell. I was like, oh my God, look at XSwap. Do you have some XSwap? So whatever the case be, let's jump into some XDC. Please smash that like. Let's check how we're doing on the likes real quick. We are currently at 50 likes. And I'm going to double check the other screen. I think we're doing all right. I didn't miss anything specifically. You guys got some interesting emojis with crabs and stuff like that. That's fine. Lobster, all that stuff sounds good. All right, so let's jump into what we have. And I want to show you guys this. This is in regards to XDC. Shout out to Crypto Nair D. Give him a follow on Crypto Twitter. Also, if you're not doing so already, please follow me up here all the way up at DPG Maximus. I try to keep you guys informed. A lot of times I do post videos and retweets, but I also do my own take on research, and I do outlines as well. I might not do it every day, but I'm trying to up my game on that as well. But here we go. Let's jump into the coverage. So XDC, the Electronic Trade Documents Act, not bill, act, is not yet enforced. Now, this is something that needed to be reported on, right? Because some people feel as though, well, if it's an act, that means it's implemented, it's being used. No. Pump the brakes on that for a bit. This is not FUD, but I want people to understand some of this, okay? So not yet enforced. This will come into effect 2 months from the day it was passed. So as we know, this was passed not that long ago, okay, by was it British, the House of Commons and so on, and then actually officially signed by King Charles. But it says basically being, you know, this is going to go into effect September 20th of 2023. It will not apply to bills of lading issued prior to that date. He does tag M letter. We know about some of these stuff, right? And ETDA. It says the act aims to facilitate functional equivalence between electronic bills of lading and other documents and their paper counterparts. We're going to jump into this a brief bit, and I'll give you my own take on this in a second. But basically speaking, let's blow this up. And it says the act is not yet in force. Like we mentioned, the act aims to facilitate functional equivalence between electronic bills of lading and other documents and their paper counterparts. It is trite law that a bill of lading has 3 key functions. And again, this is some of the key areas that you want to pay attention to, especially if you hold XDC, but you want to know something, even if you don't hold XDC, right? Let's say you just have VeChain. Let's say you just have Morpheus Network, or maybe you have 2 of those. You don't have XDC. It's all worth paying attention to. Because if anything, it will affect what the modern way of how trade works. That's the bottom line, whether you own the crypto or not. So number 1, evidence of the contract of carriage, a receipt for the goods, a document of title, possession of which gives the lawful holder a right to deliver or the delivery of the goods. A little bit more about this. It might be kind of hard to see this. So I'll blow this part up a little bit more for you guys, so you can see it a little bit better. All right. I think you can see it nice and big now. And it specifically states on this one, let's go up to the top. Digitalization of the shipping industry continues to be high on the agenda, with the bulk carrier sector and container lines recently committing to increased use of electronic bills of lading, for example, e-bills, if you're wondering what that means in layman's terms, I guess you could say, by 2030 and 2025 respectively. An important and sometimes overlooked aspect of digitalization is the opportunity it presents for ship owners to reimagine and redesign their systems and processes. Now, I want to pause here for a second and give you my own perspective on some of these things and why we should all pay close attention to this. So, like I mentioned before, there was so much focus about ISO 222 on March 20th. You know, oh man, this should really pump the cryptos. It's a messaging system. That's not utility being used, right? That just means that basically, these banks and so on have the option of, I guess you could say, implementing this. But is it implemented and is it actually being used? The answer, for the most part, was no. But with XDC, we did see, for instance, that was significantly up, right? I think we saw March 20th was something like, I don't know, 40, 45%, maybe 50% briefly up. Of course, what happened with the whole thing of FedNow recently, XDC seemed to be up, but not for the reasons of FedNow, right? Mainly for the reasons of the electronic trades documents bill that became an act. It was, just coincidence right around the same time. My key thing is this. If this thing, I should say if, right, when this thing helps basically solve a problem of supply chain, breakdowns of the supply chain, right, logistics and all that, the ability of not having to jump through so many hoops, if you will, when it comes to actual, not just physical documents, but digital documents going from point A, not just to point B, but like all the different layers of people that have to sign off on crap, right? The bureaucratic nonsense of signing off for this and then another guy and another guy and another guy. You want to talk about supply chain problems. And we saw supply chain problems when it came to the height of the pandemic. Did we not? Oh my God, it was like all over the world, right? So jump back to ISO 222. While there's so much talk about ISO 222 benefiting XRP and XLM, and rightfully so, and some of these other ones, don't get me wrong, right? Understand that, on-demand liquidity through Ripple's XRP is a big, big deal. Yeah, granted, we're not going to talk about that right now. That's a different story. We already have talked about that many times. But if you literally can have a messaging layer, if you will, that's going to be insanely more efficient and faster and so on, and cut out some of these, I guess you could say, some of the middlemen, right? Making things, here's the message or the receipt of sale, if you will. But you could do it with the ISO 222 standard through the trade industry. Hence, that gentleman, I can't reference his name. I can't remember his name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He tested this. He was able to send an ISO 222 message, right? And he used XDC as collateral. That's huge. So when this goes into place, and we were talking about specific dates, and I don't like to do this all the time because, it is a case sometimes of buy the rumor, sell the news. Well, here's the next big date. What was it? September 20th? Yeah, that could be a big date for XDC. Why would I say that? Because the last 2 times or 3 times, it was bigger for XDC than it was for the other ones that we talk about so much. All right, let's go down further into this. An important, sometimes overlooked aspect of digitalization is the opportunity it presents for ship owners. I mentioned that part, sorry. The Electronic Trade Documents Act, which passed into law on, again, another thing on the 20th. Why is everything on the 20th? Again, September 20th now. First was March 20th. Then you guys with your 420. Then July 20th with FedNow, right? Then on top of that, the electronic trade documents, that's why. All right, so it was the same time, my bad. And then now this next thing, September 20th. So it's always on the 20th. Anyway, it says basically passing the law July 20th offers just such an opportunity. The act is technology neutral, deliberately not favoring a single technology so as not to inadvertently limit the means in which the aims of the act can be achieved. As such, it challenges those who wish to adopt e-bills, remember we were talking about that earlier, bills of lading, to make their own assessment of whether the systems they use comply with the requirements set out in the Act and in turn benefit from the protections it provides. But the main key thing is taking out all these, I don't know how, I do know how to explain this. Picture track in a field. Just hear me out on this second. I want to give you a visual, right? The way I look at it is like you have that runner who's in the race. I know you always use runners and races as an analogy, but it's a good analogy. You know, this is not some, 50-yard dash or anything like that, right? But if anything, you have this race and you have these runners. You could call it like, I guess you could say delivery men, drivers, guys shipping across from a port of Madrid or something like that, or London, England, whatever the case, right? And they're bringing all these over to like New York Harbor or, port of Los Angeles, San Francisco, you name it, right? Where there's a port. And if anything, it's like cutting out these hurdles. So again, that race, less hurdles means more of that volume of that trade just being able to flow. Now, hear me out one more time on this, okay? Because you got that visual in your head. The reason why this is so darn significant is if we talk about blockchain solutions, or we talk about Ripple's XRP, that on-demand liquidity, how that's so big for the central banks and so on of the world, and it is, right? Nostro Vostro is no joke, right? But being able to prove, like, here's my drink, there's nothing in there, right? But, hey, central banks of the world, how would you like to refill on that ODL, that on-demand liquidity? Ripple provides that solution, right? But I'm talking about XDC. All right, well, let's talk about XDC. Being able to have this put into law and the act and implemented and so on cuts out barriers that create just as significant volume, if you will. We talk about Ripple's on-demand liquidity. This creates trade volume like nobody's ever seen before. I think you see less supply chain issues. I'm telling you flat out, less supply chain issues because it cuts out a lot of this. And I saw an interview recently. I don't know if I have the video on it. Hopefully I still have it from earlier. But it talks about a lady who understands the law about this and so on. And she explains it a little bit more eloquently than I can. But again, this is the trade sector. That is such a huge multi-trillion-dollar sector. You own XDC, be glad that you own it. But don't let your emotions get in the way. If you see another time period from now till September or afterwards, before we get to the real true bull market, where it kind of levels off a little bit. But if you're a long-term holder, you already know where this thing is going, right? This is part of that generational wealth. Requirements set out in the act, it turns to benefit from the protection it provides. Provides a lot of protection, also cut out a bunch of hurdles. Red tape, that's the main thing. Suppressing supply chain is a big, big problem. All right, I want to jump into the next part of what we have in regards to this. Like I mentioned before, the act aims to facilitate functional equivalence between electronic bills of lading and those other documents and also their paper counterparts. This part where I want to get to, this comes from Indeed. It states specifically, look at this for a second, because we're on the topic of XDC. When it comes to issuing digital bills, right, a process will likely involve hold on a second, that's not the one. I'm so sorry. That wasn't it. I wanted an interview. I was going to give you a little brief interview. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up that interview. It was such a cool interview with this lady. Let me see. I apologize. You know what? What happened earlier is this lady was being interviewed, and I was trying to pull up some things, and it's just, I don't know. Some of the things kind of go away, but she basically works in the the industry that analyzes, I guess you could say, the law. She was interviewed, I guess, in the UK. This is a different lady. This one's good as well. I'm gonna share this with you guys real quick. This one's only about a minute. Before I get into it, I'm gonna pull this up and share this tab. Smash that like. Look at this for a second. This is good stuff. So it states, and this again from CryptoNair D. XDC ICC DSI team is spearheading the charge towards a more inclusive and efficient world of digital trade. Again, back to what I was talking about. The whole concept of why this matters is to make things obviously run more efficiently, right? We have a big problem when it comes to supply chain. It's always breaking down. Like, I'll go to the store. Hey, you guys are out of this. Sorry, man. We won't get that probably for at least 3 months. 3 months? Why is that? We got to break down in the supply chain. God, you know what I mean? It's so frustrating, right? But understand where we're going with some of this. There's a reason why, putting politics aside, that I do like the idea that there's some proponents that honestly understand the concepts of blockchain and DLT. I think Warren Davison honestly gets it. I think Tom Emmer gets it, and so on. I understand that some people feel as though like they get criticism, like, oh yeah, now they get it because for political reasons. Okay, but at the same time, I like the idea that we do at least have some people in office that are going to be proponents of blockchain innovation, and for instance, when it comes to advancing these technologies and not just leaving the United States and so on, right? That's the key thing. And I think they get the whole concept of this electronic trade documents bill. I mean, yeah, that's something over the UK, but it literally affects the world trade. So let's jump into this part of why the UK leads the charge in regards to trade and why it matters to us, and especially if we're XDC holders, which a lot of us are. All right. This aligns perfectly with the UK's recent announcement about the Electronic Trade Documents Act. This is, of course, set to boost not only the UK economy, but let's be honest, it's going to boost the economies of many different nations around the world, because this is literally like world trade law, if you will, right? Just because it's something that's put into the UK doesn't mean that many other countries are going to benefit from it. They're, of course, going to benefit from it. If you have a port, and I'll use this example again, let's mention, I don't know, let's say Lisbon, Portugal, right? Breaking down of the supply chain, right? Well, they didn't sign or agree to some of these things, right? But again, a world trade documents bill saying, or act going into law saying, hey, you want to know something? This is what we're doing. This will not only benefit us, will benefit you. Then all of a sudden, like literally, instead of having things broke down within 90 days, you can literally see the reaction, not just waiting for 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, and so on. Literally within a few days, or literally within hours. You don't have cases of, this giant, ship like that looks like an Exxon. Exxon, remember the Exxon Valdez thing back in the past, big old giant cargo ship with all this freight, all this cargo, and it's just sitting there. It can't move due to breakdowns in supply chain. It benefits everyone. We want to talk about helping the world economy. This is the answer, in my opinion. But anyway, the act marks a significant leap towards innovative digitalization, streamlining trade processes, and paving the way for prosperous future. We need this now. All right, so she goes in detail about this. I know I want to kind of on a spiel. The Digital Standards Initiative is a public-private partnership. Let's play this.
So the Digital Standards Initiative is a public-private partnership dedicated to working with both the public and private sectors to advance and accelerate our journey towards digital trade. In the world of digital trade, every time a good crosses a border, we are using common standards, common practices, regardless of countries and sectors and an organizations being large or small. It means that trade is transparent and inclusive and fast. We need this now. We have the data, we have the technology, we have the public will and the private sector urgency to reach this world. So the digital standards.
All right, glad to share that obviously with you guys. I'm gonna get into a little bit more of this in a second. I'm just trying to pull up the other one I have. There's obviously a lot more details about this and so on. Give me a second. Yeah, this one's pretty good. About because it references MLeader and also ETDB that we were talking about earlier. Let's pull this up for a second. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'm just trying to give you guys a broader sense of why this is so big. Why, why you go to your top 100 on CMC and XTC is just absolutely just slaying it, taking names, if you will, and so on. Anyway, let's go ahead and play this. I'll share the screen in just a moment. This one has some chapters, so I'm gonna get to some key areas. It's going to have a part about the Electronic Trade Documents Bill, which obviously is an act now. It's going to talk about MLeader for a brief bit, practical use cases, and if anything, the benefits. So I'm going to fast forward to this. Give me a second. There we go. Let's get it primed, ready to go. Here we go. Smash that like for some XDC. You'd be glad you did. And if this is your first time ever even tuning in or hearing about XDC, well, then you're in for a treat because it's some good stuff. So let me turn off some banners to put some emphasis on this for a brief moment. After this segment, we'll kick it back to the comments. And then after that will be some Jasmy for you guys. Appreciate you guys being here tonight with us. Here we go. And yes, from MLeader to ETDB turbocharging. Turbocharging what? Well, you have to stay tuned for that. Here we go.
Why is it important to pass this trade bill in the UK? And can you give some of the reasons behind the creation of the bill?
Yes, absolutely. So
sorry, I had to let you guys know. This was the one I viewed earlier that I was talking about with this lady. This lady knows this like the back of her hand. So I'm really glad I was able to re-find it from a different source, but this is the one I was talking about. So here we go.
what I've been researching, obviously, is the legal barriers to digitalization. And what the bill does is it solves what is called the possession problem by the Law Commission. Essentially, it covers documents which are used in a very specific way in international trade. Essentially, this type of document gives the person who possesses it, if that person received it as a result of being issued it, or received it pursuant to a valid transfer, it gives that person the right to claim performance of the obligation that's recorded in the document. So these are very, very important documents in international trade, and they function on the basis of possession. Now, the possession problem is that only tangible things can be possessed, and that is true of the law of many, many jurisdictions. It's almost invariably the case across the world. So the bill is there to basically recognize that electronic documents that fulfill certain criteria are capable of being possessed at English law.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And just a question on the UNCITRAL, so the United Nations version of this, so the model law on electronic transferable records. That's quite hard to adopt into English law, right? And that's largely because of this possession piece and also the piece around tangible items, right?
Well, the model law was designed to solve precisely the same problem, because, as I said, this possession problem is common to many jurisdictions, and it solves it in substantially the same way. Basically, the model law says that if an electronic document is controllable, then possession requirements in the can be met by that document. So essentially, the principles are the same. If you fulfill certain criteria and make the document controllable, that's the main criterion, then the document can satisfy the law's requirements for possession.
Sure. Okay. So now the Trade Documents Bill is being passed through the House of Parliament, so the House of Lords and the House of Commons. Can you give us an update of where we're up to right now, today, in April?
Yes, so it's very exciting times. The bill has passed through the House of Lords, all the stages in the House of Lords. So it's received its final reading on the 23rd of March. And on the same day, it's moved to the Commons and it received its first reading in the Commons. And now it's gone to the second reading, and it can be considered an uncontroversial bill. So the likelihood of it needing to be debated in a committee is quite low. And then after the second reading, it will be considered by the House, and it will go on to the final stages.
Thank you very much. So the bill, or the ETDB for short, what's the likelihood of it actually being used in reality? And can you give some practical use cases for the bill, given your expertise and also the length of time at which you've been researching the bill?
Okay, well, I'll try. So the bill is likely to be useful in two ways, in my view, once it becomes law. First of all, it will give predictability to stakeholders. So basically, it answers the question, if I want to set up a system that achieves certain effects, legal effects, for the purposes of UK law, how do I do it? What requirements do I need to meet? And it basically sets out these requirements. So if the bill sets out these requirements, so if the system meets those requirements, then you have some reassurance, both as a system provider and as a potential system user, that it's going to do what you want it to do legally. The second way it's going to be useful is if a dispute arises. So if a dispute arises concerning an electronic trade document, or to which an electronic trade document is relevant, then the parties to the dispute know that this document is going to be treated in the same way as its paper counterpart. And the paper counterparts have very hefty evidentiary value in legal terms. So in certain circumstances, they can be considered incontrovertible evidence of their contents. So it's really, really important to have the electronic bill, the electronic document recognized as, at law, the same as its paper counterpart.
Thank you, Miriam. Now, the ETDB, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? The ETDB aligns with the UNCITRAL MLETR, which has already been adopted in many markets: Bahrain, Abu Dhabi Global Markets, Singapore, and France, Germany, and of course the UK equivalent on its way. What are the benefits of legal harmonization in this space?
So I think the importance cannot be overstated, really, because we're talking about activities which by definition occur across borders. We're talking about international trade, international transportation of goods, and we're also talking about services that are provided to users that are operating in this international environment. So it's really important that basically legal risks are minimized by ensuring that the requirements that have to be met in the various parts of the world are substantially the same requirements, and that the legal effects of meeting those requirements are substantially the same effects. So this is why it's so important to ensure that there's quite a widespread drive towards law reform in this space. I mean, in the meantime, both the model law and the UK bill they include conversion to paper provision. So in the model law, there's 2 articles on conversion, one in one direction, the other in the other. In the bill, they are treated in one provision. But basically, the idea is if you can't achieve the legal effects you want in this jurisdiction using the electronic document, then you have the option of switching to the paper form for those purposes. But ideally, what we want in order to have genuine digitalization across the board is for widespread law reform.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I guess on that note of reforming UK law, where do you think there's going to be the greatest need for focus for when it comes to academic research within this field moving forwards?
So lots of areas where unknowns remain, and those areas are ripe for academic research. I mean, as an academic, it's a privilege because we get to research whatever we want when we want, and the years of research that preceded these reforms meant that when they needed to happen, when COVID made it really imperative that we reform the law, we could do it quickly. So the Law Commission came up with its recommendations in record time. So other areas where I think we will need to do research in the future, well, at the moment, I'm researching the governance mechanisms that underpin these digitalization initiatives, which are being led by industry. So I'm trying to understand their nature and effectiveness. Another area which I think it is really important to do research in the future would be cyber risk and its potential to become systemic. So essentially, we need to answer questions such as how can we prepare for a major cyber event, whether it's cyber malfunction or cyber attack. How can we best allocate these risks? How do we do it most efficiently? How do we mitigate them? And what is the role of law and regulation? So all of these things are things that I'm very much looking forward to researching in the future.
Miriam, thank you for joining us.
All right. Glad to share that with you guys. I'm going to give you guys just a few things that I have on my notes, I guess you could say, like Biggie Smalls, relax and take notes. So she was talking about a few key things, right? I like the idea that you're going to be able to take custody of, for instance, the document, okay? Not necessarily so much on the paper version, but she said that, you have the option of doing that. The digital form of that. You guys, unless you've been living under a rock your whole life, right? Who doesn't order, items from Amazon, or, you have UPS deliver things for you and so on. That guy comes up and he's got, a thing, obviously a lot bigger than this thing, but, it looks like a little Palm Pilot, right? And then, he scans things and then, he verifies basic things in this system. Well, imagine all those things being able to be tied to, for instance, an actual ledger, right? That verifies some key things. So basically speaking, not having to go through so many channels regarding the document like it was before, right? Cutting out, we talk about middlemen, but it's so much more than just middlemen. It's, hey, I got to get this guy to sign off at, on this, literally at the dock or the port, down at, picture a bunch of longshoremen, right? You guys see me in a thumbnail with that, right? Taking that out of the equation where, it's just, things are just smoothly going, right? You heard Gilbert Verdian talk about, or things future proof. Well, yeah, it's actual law. Being able to legally take custody of the document with ownership with digitalization. On top of that, this recognizes law and its paper counterpart by referencing what is on a blockchain, and listen to this, instantly on a ledger. How cool is that? Verifiable on ledger. That's a game changer. benefits are that this will benefit not only the United Kingdom, but it's also going to benefit international trade. And then this last part. This will help this will help solve supply chain scalability problems by alleviating barriers by eliminating hurdles with the current system of just that international trade. So I think it's a big win, and the market has responded with that. That's why you consistently see XDC up, and anything pretty much tied to XDC. XSwap was, a few days ago, like one day up over 85%. On the week it was like 150, 160%. I even showed up Mike Cornwell. I'm like, oh my God, look at this God candle, 1 hour God candle, 45% up on XSP. So you guys hold XSP. Congratulations. All right. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Glad to share that with you guys in regards to XSP. I'm going to turn on a few more banners. We do have more coverage. We're going to get into Jasmy here in a bit. Just going to turn on some of this stuff for brand awareness. Give me a follow at DPG Maximus, like you see right here. All right, we're going to jump into the next bit of comments that we have. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight at CTN. And going further down into the comments, Brian Alley says he still thinks that Larson's owning X.com before Elon is a big deal. Anyone agree? I'm going to agree with you. I do think it's a big deal. I haven't had a chance to take a proper deep dive into it. I haven't not forgotten about that, Brian, but I think you're on to something. It's not a case of crickets, my friend. I swear it's not. If anything, I'll even put down a reminder this time around. I'll just go ahead and do that real quick. So let me see. What do you got? Larson. All right. So LarsonX.com, and I'm going to save this one. Because I don't want to be the type of guy to be like, oh yeah, I'll look into that, and never look into it. I mean, that's worth looking into, and I think that's worth paying attention to. So, all right, let's get that going. All right, further down, we got a few more comments. Antoine Zim, welcome back, or welcome. I don't know if I've seen you here before. Sorry. QNT succeeded on wholesale CBDC trial with Banque de France. Yes, oui. Merci beaucoup. You're right about that. I did report on that a while back, a deep dive on that. 40% down on Rio. Let's see what's going on with Rio real quick. Rio fluctuates in the market something fierce sometimes. Sometimes it goes crazy. Sometimes it goes, like I said, I mean, it's like for shorting and leverage, it's crazy. Let's see if we can pull up Rio real quick. Hold on a minute. EO. All right. 21 cents currently. 24-hour period, 0.64% down. 7-day chart, 8%. And then on top of that, the 1 month. For the month, it's up 12.87. Let me see. On the year, it's up 309.74%. And the all-time, it's up 7.01%. So that's strange. Maybe it's just CMC delayed or something, Tim. I'll have to get with you on that one. All right. Brian Dowie says, I like the way Max says Maorb. Might keep it. Yes. Welcome, everybody, to the Mud Butt Casserole Special with your host, Maorb, a.k.a. Brian Dowie. No, I'm kidding. All right. Let's read a few more comments from you guys. River, XSP, and PLI running right along with XDC. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Maorb. Max, serious question, bro. Did Caroline make it to Phoenix yet? No, she's stuck basically in Grants Pass, Oregon at the moment. She is having problems with her pogo stick. Okay. All right, let's go further down. Antoine Zim says XDC is the leader in TradeFi. They can get all the trades in Commonwealth. Buckle up. Well, I'm glad you pay attention to that. XDC is consistently my number, I guess you could say like my number 3 or my number 4. I mean, QNT, XRP pretty much a tie for 1. XLM's 2. XDC, yeah, I guess you could say it's like a number 3. There you go. Consistently my top 5. How about that? All right. Let's see where we're at in the comments. Just a couple more. Sith Lord, welcome. XRP is the race. Do it. Give it to the XRP. Do it. Initiate order 589. No, I'm kidding. Welcome. Glad to have you here, though. Every time I see somebody mention Sith, I think, literally, do it. Give it to the hate. Give it to the XRP. Do it. My friend could do it a lot better than I can. I don't know. It's my way of trying. Welcome to the Sith Lord. Let's welcome a newcomer, guys. Sith Lord. He said, what's up, Tim? Family have been just sitting back listening for the last 45 minutes. Maybe you changed your name or something. I just don't know who you are. But nonetheless, I mean, maybe this is your first time commenting. Maybe you changed your name. I don't know. Sith Lord, we do appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I saying what's up to everybody. Just bought some more XRP. Bought the X's. Nice. And some Kaspa. You basically went out and you went and do it. Give it to the X's. Give it to the hate. No kidding. Why are we hating on this? We're not hating on it. Anyway. Max, check out the panic chart if you have time. The panic chart? What are you talking about? Yeah, like Ghost, John Frank, like a panic chart? Like, huh? The panic chart? Sith Lord. Everyone here is going to be loaded. Some people have no idea. Yeah, I agree with you on that, man. I mean, when it comes to that, it's just like for people saying, I had a guy, I kid you not, I think it was the last XDC video I did. Actually, you know what? I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but this is kind of worth pointing out. I'm going to pull up the last XDC video. I need to do a new one, obviously. And, I'm not trying to disrespect people, but, I mean, I don't know, some of this stuff, man. All right, so when was the last XDC video I did? I think it was a while ago, all right? I do try to put them out, but... All right, yeah, about the electronic trade documents bill 3 weeks ago. Okay, let's pull this up. Let's see here. This guy talks about Andre Casterman. Right? He's just like, this guy's like the damn devil or something like that. And I'm just like, what? Let's see here. Let's see. Man, maybe it's an older one. I don't know. I can't find it. But anyway, this guy was literally like, Andre Casterman has been talking about since 2018 about how XDC is going to explode. Okay, well, maybe he got it wrong, or actually it was 2021, and he said that was going to happen in 2022. Well, he got it wrong because obviously, bear market and so on, right? But the key thing is compare XDC a year ago to where we're at now. I mean, what about Salamander, the XDC commander, right? He is not complaining about how his XDC earnings are going, to say the least. XDC just needs to go to $1, and my God, But thank you so much. All right, let's read a couple more comments. Antoine Zim, XDC will be used for the Panama Canal shipping lanes trades. Doesn't that sound amazing in itself? I think it does. Couple more comments. XRP is going to start before the Bitcoin halving, April 2024. Ghost, look at the Kaspa. All right. Kaspa is the friendly ghost. Yeah. All right. Let's just use one of these things as a bookmark. Hold on. You're a Coinbase maxi now. Does Coinbase have that Kaspa? All right. All right, let's jump into the next part. What we have. Let's double check the other page. Make sure I didn't forget anything. I want to welcome XRP Boss. Who you haters think you be hating? She be the XRP Boss. Try to jack her XRP from her. Homie, get lost. Yes. Thank you for being here. XRP Boss. I kind of remixed that. It used to be, who you haters think you be hating? I be the freaking boss. Try to jack me for my jumbo jack. Homie, get lost. Yes, I know, Rick Ross. I had a reference Rick Ross. He's all right. Some of his music's all right. Some of it's like, meh. Some is good. Some is bad. But yes, welcome XRP Boss. Who else we got up in the hizzle? Patrick Collier, if I didn't welcome you here before. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's get into what we have. It is now the Jasmy segment. Finally, I was here from the beginning. You promised me some Jasmy. Well, if that was the case, that means that I also promised you XRP, Stellar, Nexera, LCX, HBAR, Casper, Algo, IOTA. You get where I'm going with this, right? Yeah. All right. So let's jump into some Jasmy. Smash that like if you haven't done so already, especially if you're part of the Jasmy Army or the Jasmy Navy or the Jasmy Armed Forces of Ziva. All right, here we go. A few days ago, I think it was Boomer F and Sooner, the one and only Boomer F and Sooner, was talking about that Jasmy was listed on crypto.com. Well, I think that's a big deal, right? Lean 6 DeFi says, for the news that may not know, it's listed on crypto.com app. Oh my God, daily Jasmy coin. Buy Jasmy at true cost with USD, your GBP, and 20 plus fiat currencies. I might not get my Eagle Scout badge. Well, anyway, yes, you see it on here. Report out originally on the 25th. That's cool. Had to do the nerd voice. You know, I am a nerd. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. All right, next part. Shout out to the one and only Mentalect. Hello, is it Mentalect you're looking for? Lionel Richie. Now, if you guys don't know Mentalect from the CTN community that we have here, right? The key thing is on crypto Twitter, his Twitter's been blowing up as candlestick maker. Same guy. He reported also this right here. And this was posted earlier today about roughly 2.5 hours ago. Jasmy is a top mover on Coinbase. Gotta love the font here, Mentalect. I gotta state, candlestick maker. What are we playing? Oregon Trail? My goodness, man. I gotta help you out with some of the graphics, my friend. This literally looks like it was taken from Windows 3.1 or MS DOS or something, or God, man, like are we gonna die of dysentery or something? I mean, what is going on with this, my friend? Anyway. Trading insights. The point is the message. Get back to the message, Max. All right. Shout out to Mentalect. Jasmy is a top mover on Coinbase. Shout out to Triple C and his Coinbase. Jasmy is up 4.9%, 4.96% to 0.004 in the last 24 hours. That's not bad. Also like that Tim Shea. He listens to what I say on the show. Jasmy scales. I like that. Maybe we'll do a hashtag Jasmy scales, or that's fine too, because you got the hashtag. That's good stuff. All right, a little bit more of what we have, but thank you to you guys. We're going to jump into the next part. And on this one, I think I have it. It comes from, what's his name? Darren Magruder, right? And let me see if I can just pull this up. Or I said Darren Magruder. I mixed up Darren. I mixed up Fluffy Fluff and I mixed Darius Magruder. I'm so sorry. I mixed you guys' names up. This is from Darius Magruder, a.k.a. who? Can you guys give the channel name? Huh? Can you give it? Learn and Evolve. Come on, guys. Give him a follow. All right. So this is another one from a community member. This was cool. I like this one. Jasmy ranked 43rd by volume out of all 9,934 active cryptocurrencies listed on CMC. Hashtag Jasmy Navy, or if you're old school, # Jasmy Navy. Forget this hashtag garbage, right? All right, here's his report. I think that's the biggest I can make it. I guess that's big enough right there. He highlights it. Volume is up 192%. 43rd overall in volume. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby at all. All right, more and more people are getting into Jasmy. They're recognizing that return on investment, potential return on investment, that risk to reward ratio. They're feeling like, man, I could buy a lot of this for not much, and it's trending, and you name it, right? Super cool stuff. Now, here's something I do want to state. It is kind of interesting, right? Yesterday, I did report on QNT. I did a live show with you guys. I chopped it up and I did a video. It's Jasmy QNT. But you know what I also talked about in that video? Did I not talk about Uniswap? Kind of funny you say. I'm not saying this is because of me. Oh, yes, you are, Max. Why would you reference it? Leave me alone. All right. On the right side, it says trending QNT. This is on crypto Twitter. now known as X, right? QNT's trending 49.7K tweets. Look at the darn page. Jasmy statistics, volume up like Darius was talking about, 192%. And then on top on the same page, Uniswap with 109,000 tweets. Now, why would it be 109,000 tweets? Probably because of the info. I'm saying that I gave you, but in generally speaking, maybe Uniswap is in a V4 right now. And that is big because that V4 eliminates 99% of those swaps or, you know, some of those crazy fees. Okay, check out the deep dive outline if you haven't done so. Maybe I should have put the Uniswap logo also on the thumbnail. Did a little bit of a 3-in-1. Anyway, glad to share that. We're going to get into the next part of what we have. Cool stuff. And I guess you could say that concludes the Jasmy coverage. It's just a quick little thing, right? Because yesterday was a real big deep dive. This next one, believe it or not, is going to be about Filecoin, and you won't believe it. Max is going to talk about a little bit of Kaspa, so I'm going to tie it into the Filecoin segment. Smash that like for some Filecoin and Kaspa. How cool is that? All right, scrolling further down, you guys got some interesting comments. I think I saw the comment earlier about it wasn't until, you know, for most of your life or something, Cool Cat, you thought duct tape, DUCT tape, was actual duck tape. That's all right. When I was a kid, I used to call it duck tape all the time. I think everybody used to call it duct tape, not duct tape with a T. Anyway, duct tape. That's interesting. All right. Yes, Learn Evolve XTC to the moon. Sith Lord, do it. There is a difference between Kaspa and Casper. Yeah. Kaspa is like silver to Bitcoin being gold. Kaspa is 3.5 cents. But it's like, what was it? One of the main creators created both, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, do it. Buy the Kaspa. Can't even say it right anymore. My friend could do it perfect, man. He sounds like Palpatine straight up, man. Anyway, I should try to get him to do a line for Crypto Jedi, right? That way, when we hear his Yoda, it's like, price prediction, you will, you know, price prediction I have. And then it's just like Palpatine. He's just like, do it. Give it to the price prediction. Anyway, some of you guys are like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about, but that's all right. There's the one. Cool Cat. For years, I thought it was duct tape. I knew I saw it in the comments on the other screen. Moonbird. Patea is dope. Man, Moonbird, my goodness. When you walk in the spot, this is what you see. A guy named Moonbird who has a six-pack, who benches about 353. He's got passion in his wallet, and he ain't afraid to show it. Show it. He works out, and he knows it. You guys know what I'm talking about. You've seen that video, that parody of I'm sexy and I'm homeless. It's so messed up. You guys got to see that. You know, we're talking about that barbecue. Was it you know, barbecue stores and something supply. I don't know what it was. You guys, you know, from Mike Cornwell, check out the one that's called "I'm Sexy and I'm Homeless." It's hilarious, but it's kind of messed up at the same time. I would play it, but we get that stupid copyright strike thing anyway, and then we get, you know, written up for it from YouTube. You know, it's so stupid. You know, Twitter wouldn't write us up for that. All right. What else we got in the comments real quick? I think that was towards the bottom of the comments. Yeah, I need to go further up. I need to go further up in the comments. Might have missed some. Hold on. Let me go further down. What do we got here? Boomer F Sooner says at 7:45 p.m. Not that long ago. Looks like the SEC might try to pick up Florida Star and Clemson now. Oh. Sith Lord. Do it. Yes, it's 3.5 cents. Look at his chart. You need a crypto in your portfolio that has yet to experience a bull run. Oh, I have plenty of those. Trust me, I'll do on that. About oh man. I have 49 total. Out of those 49, I have a few that haven't experienced a bull run yet. Yes, I agree with that. It's a great statement. Bull run such Bitcoin halving. Look at the biggest gains during the last halving. Great statement. I'll grab some snowflakes before that duct tape. What? Yeah. No, I'm kidding. All right. Ghost, I would buy 10,000 Kaspa for a nice short gain, perhaps. I buy that 10,000 gain of that Kaspa. All right. What else you guys got? Welcome again, XRP Boss. Hey, Max. Hart. Hey, for internet family. Thank you again for being back to the one and only XRP Boss. She says, smash that like button. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Cosmos blockchain event is coming in October. I'm kidding. You don't sound like that. Maybe you do. I don't know. You're a freaking cat. Anyway. All right. Well, thanks for that. You hear whose things are coming for Cosmos. Yeah, Investor Place is like big up on Cosmos all the time. Yeah, anyway. All right, let's see what you got. Anybody else? How about this? XRP Boss, 7:58 p.m. We'll get back into the outline here in a bit, guys. Just bear with me. She states that she grabbed 100,000 Jasmy because of you, Max. Oh, boy. Well, it's not financial advice. It's just educational, but okay. Thank you. I am honored. Thank you. You never have financial advice. All right. Yeah. And I thank you for the insight. Good stuff. Thank you. I give you a virtual hug. Okay. Thank you so much, XRP Boss. That means a lot. I appreciate it. Here's what I was talking about. Earlier on the show, I even said, and how many times have I said this, guys? There is a consistent thing, right? When it comes to XRP holders, a lot of XRP holders, we're smart, right? We know, like, we should also be holding like Stellar and some of these other ones with utility, not just like, we're not XRP maxis for the most part, but a lot of XRP holders, like XRP Boss, holds what, guys? Jasmy. We're so impressed with XRP because we understand that's that generational wealth. Like, a lot of us feel as though it's going to go to crazy price levels in the future, crazy market cap. We also recognize what Jasmy's going to do, and we're not going to be left behind. So shout out to you. Awesome on your extra 100,000 Jasmy, or if that's your first position or whatever the case be, congratulations. I think it's pretty awesome, and I am honored in that regard. I did put a lot of, I got to say, I'm a humble guy, but I got to admit, I put in my heart and soul into that last one about, because people say it, oh, this is just an ERC20 token. It can't scale. Please. Centrality. It currently scales. Only on 1,000 TPS, currently speaking, but it beats the hell out of 14 to 15 or 8 to 15, give or take, TPS, right? With just the old Ethereum way of going about things and so on. So that's good. And then in the future, like we showed you guys, there's a reason why I break some of that stuff down. We talk about the Hyperledger fabric and the update from Overledger. Again, maybe they just need to make more money. Maybe they're not even aware of it. And as community members, sometimes we do know some stuff that maybe those guys, the bigwigs, don't know. But you better believe there's got to be a few of these guys that in the background, if they type in Jasmy or whatever, right, it's going to give them a feed, of what's recommended. You're going to see that and you're going to think, what the heck is this? What the heck is this? Information at 5:46 in the morning, the crack of dawn, and now I'm yawning. Wipe the cold out my eye. See who's Max with the research about this darn QNT Overledger and why, right? Yeah, Biggie Smalls, warning. Come on, people. Brian Dowie knows what I'm talking about. XXI Gamers know what I'm talking about. Selmo Fudd knows what I am talking about because Biggie Smalls was the illest. Your style is played out like the Arnold and the what you talking about, Willis. All right, Brian Riley, Jasmy has roughly about 54,000 holders, getting there. It's getting there, man. It's so darn impressive. Thank you for the stats, Brian Riley. Appreciate you as always, sir. Boom. Thank you for sharing the show. You've been awesome, man. You don't think I noticed that? I always notice our community members when they, get the word out about our platform, some of the things we cover all the time, Jasmy, stuff like that. All right. Let's see here. Max talking about the Kaspa. Oh, yeah, I'm about to do it here in a second. Hold on a second. I'm ubiquitous. Are you? Are you ubiquitous? All right, true ducal. It should be adopted as duct tape. You know what? Maybe next time I go down to the Chinese restaurant, which might be tonight, get some Chinese takeout. I'll have to go pretty soon. Maybe I go down there and say, you know what? I ordered some Peking duck. And by George, I want some extra duck sauce. And make sure you seal up my container with some duct tape. And just have the guy literally look at me like a freaking deer in a headlight. Like, I'm sorry, sir. I only speak menu. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I love some of these guys, and they have some great food, especially in some of these places, right? But let's be honest. Some of these guys only speak menu. You know what I mean? Like if I start, like this one guy was trying to have a conversation with me. He just looked at me like confused deer in a headlight. But then when I asked him questions about what's on the menu, oh yeah, he's fluent. I mean, it's just a reality, I'm just being honest. All right. Max, play the new commercial with Sabrina and the other girl. All right. Well, just like when you used to be on the show and you'd be like, this is Larry, basically. Max, do it impersonation. Leave me alone. Do it impersonation of Tony Montana. Do it. Do it. You're like a trained monkey. Do it. All right, Larry, I'll do it. Well, here's another example. I guess I'll do it. All right. Let's pull this up, and then we'll get into the Kaspa. Oh, Max, this is horrible. Why you make me wait? I don't know. You can blame Larry. You can blame Larry. Okay, so that you want the one about Sabrina. Not Sabrina. Oh, you want the blooper reel? Okay, hold on. All right, hold on a second. Let me play the blooper reel from Mr. Larry. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll like it. This is just real quick, guys. It won't take that long. There we go. Here we go.
Sure you guys watch Crypto Talk Now with Max and Larry.
All right, let's do it now again with more enthusiasm, all right? Okay.
Oh, more enthusiasm.
More enthusiasm.
Mine's is better.
All right.
Shut up.
You want to check the audio?
Make sure you guys watch Crypto Talk Now with Max and Larry.
All right, let's do it now again with more enthusiasm, all right? Okay.
Oh, more enthusiasm.
More enthusiasm.
Mine's is better.
All right.
Shut up.
You want to check the audio?
All right. You do kind of sound like that one guy from literally the Chinese restaurant, though, with more enthusiasm. Give me more enthusiasm. That would be the Japanese restaurant, but it's okay. All right, let's go further down. Just a couple more comments, and then I swear we'll kick it right back into where we're at. $1,000 super chat. Yeah, I'll be lucky if I ever see that, right? Anyway. All right, let's go further down. Antoine Zim, Elites, WEF, BlackRock are heavy on ESG. I'm loading on EWT. Energy Web Token, cool. Partnership with Deutsche Telekom Aviation Netflix. Huh, interesting. I got the meats. Yes, I do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and highlight that as a bookmark from Cool Cat Crypto. Oh, that's not Cool Cat Crypto. That's just emojis. All right. That's right, Biggie, baby. That's right. Glad that you like the Biggie Smalls. All right, so let's jump into this. I'll turn off some banners real quick to kind of highlight what we have. Here we go, and there we go. All right, so we're going to jump into this, and it's a little bit of Filecoin and Kaspa. Maybe you weren't aware of this, but I thought this was good, and I'll give you guys my own little take on this real quick. So maybe this gets chopped up. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting. So here you go. This is reported from this guy. His name is Captain Sats. What a name. And what an avatar. Look at that avatar for a second. Yeah. Ish poster. BTC, XMR, Kaspa, Maxi. If it ain't proof of work, it's a ish coin. Kaspa currency will eventually replace Litecoin. Wow, that sounds bullish, right? All right. So he states in this, and please smash that like. FIL holders, you should check out what the block DEG pioneers and creator of Phantom/Spectre are up to over at Kaspa currency. Kaspa, right? Kaspa is breaking NC proof of work records. That's really interesting. Some of you guys are already in the know when it comes to Kaspa, but what about this example tying it in with Filecoin, right? I'm very, very bullish on both of these. So we're going to go ahead and play this. This comes from Protocol Labs Consensus Day, and it's only about a minute, but if anything, it's going to educate you on some key things. Think about what he mentions here and understand why that's so crucial. And then when it's over with, I'll kick it into the next part of why I feel as though this is a big deal. Smash that like. Here we go.
And this leads us to this sort of second really important component of EC, which is chain selection. So for chain selections, we sort of follow a simple rule. Forks are bad, convergence is good, and sort of batching blocks together helps push the blockchain to converge. So we're using a block-backed structure like in Phantom or Spectre so that we make use of all the computation that was sort of, or all the storage that was generated in a given round. And we call this set of blocks a tip set. So we're batching blocks that are outputted in a given round and using that tip set to mine off of, as opposed to mining off of an individual block. Again, why do we want to do this? Well, because we have multiple parents, we can get more sort of attempts at grinding or at mining off of a subchain, which leads to longer convergence. And yet, we also don't want to waste that storage that people have put out. So I'm repeating myself, but we deal with that by having miners combine their parents to try and rein the sort of forking factor in.
All right. So for one, he said he doesn't want to waste the storage, and he talks about convergence. Right. So let's give you some of the, I guess you could say a little bit of that educational, part of why we were sharing this. So check this out. This comes from the next part of this real quick. And this is from Frontiers. And like it states, and this is in my opinion, a true statement. Specifically, today, it is one of the main limitations of IoT, right? Internet of Things, to store and manage a large amount of data, right? The management of data cloud could be made more scalable by a convergence, just kind of like what he was talking about, of technologies using blockchain technology and AI jointly, right? So remember earlier he was talking about like it would make more sense for convergence instead of doing what? Instead of making a fork. And I would agree with that. Opponents of blockchain tech criticize that blockchain systems lack scalability due to the use of energy consuming consensus mechanisms to validate transactions. Perfect example, like it says, proof of work consensus. There's, of course, a citation. But it states there are various more energy efficient consensus mechanisms, such as proof of stake or even proof of authority, that can increase scalability. Now, it goes on to mention that high energy consumption will soon be an artifact of the Bitcoin network. And understand the reference that was mentioned earlier about Litecoin, right? And like this guy was mentioning that he feels as though, like, Kaspa is going to put Litecoin to shame. If that's the case, my God, this is like 1000x, right? With the Kaspa. You don't think I've been paying attention to some of this stuff just because I don't talk about it all the time? You better believe I still pay attention to it and so on. But I'm waiting for my right entry. Now, to get more into this system could be grounded on deep reinforcement learning, which is DRL. One form of machine learning is to teach or reach, I should say, a higher degree of throughput. The author suggests DRL-based algorithm to dynamically select, adjust the block procedures, consensus algorithm, block size, and some of these other things in regards to performance. But my key thing that I wanted to mention to you guys was just that. And that basically is convergence and why it matters, right? I think with Kaspa, they get it. And, like he was also showing in regards to Filecoin in the mix and so on, you don't need to make a fork. That kind of like ruins the whole purpose of the consensus algorithm, if you get what I'm saying. But my main key thing I want to bring up for you guys just one last time is where it mentions about the whole thing with AI, combining these two things with AI. that is incredible, right? And I think that's the next path or where we're going forward here with some of this technology. So, you know, at the end of the day, even with this statement, IoT machines and devices store a large amount of sensitive data. Think about that for a second. We're always talking about Jasmy, right? But it is true. It is essential to ensure privacy and security of this data. And if anything, you want to work together in conversions. Like, why would you want to break the chain and make a fork of it going, you know, kind of like, to me, it's counterintuitive, right? You don't want that. Filecoin and Kaspa working together like that, I think that is awesome. And if anything, I'll try to maybe take more of a deeper dive into some of this. But I'm very impressed with some of the readings that I've been finding about Kaspa. And of course, as you guys know, I hold a lot of Filecoin, and preparing for that bull market that's coming up and so on. I think not only do we smash previous all-time highs for Filecoin, but like Sith Lord was mentioned in the comments, you definitely do want to have some in your portfolio that have never reached some of these monumental all-time highs. Kaspa looks like it's going to do some big things. While it's not financial advice, I don't need to preach to the choir. The research speaks for itself. Kaspa has been killing it when it comes to use case, the tech, some of these other things you might not have been aware of, like for instance, the Filecoin connection. And on top of that, just how it's been trending, you know, like we talk about the crypto trifecta. Does it have utility? Does it trend? You know, does it have more than like one use case, or does it have, you know, a good following or a great community behind it? It meets all those criteria. I've definitely been paying attention. All right, gonna read a few more comments. I think after this, let me just double check. That might just be about it, believe it or not. So yeah, we are going to read the last bit of comments. I do thank you guys for being here. Let me see if you have anything specific. We might have some bonus content depending on like what you're sharing. But let's go further down. Method Man and Biggie. Yeah, absolutely, man. The what, you know? Is that what you're trying to say, Brian Dowie? That is, the world don't ask me for ish. Everything you get, you gotta work hard for it. Money shake the hips, you don't stop. Gotta get the XRP. Keep moving. Verse 2. Coming with the never mind. I could get into it more. LA Brew. Met the cow. Met the ICU. I'm gonna go listen to that later, man. The what, man? That is just ready to die. That first album for Biggie, that was just off the hook. Off the chain, off the blockchain, right? Anyway. Calvin, welcome. Glad to have you. If I missed you in the comments, it wasn't on purpose, my friend. But glad to have you. Calvin with the T6 glider, doing big things. There he is, thinking we all made it through Caroline in another bear market. All right. Max grabbed the pancakes, bro. Well, not the one that was given to me by a student. Like, I'm good on that. Hot or breakfast on a stick. It's good. Just not good when it's been like, you know, Rue Black was like, oh my God, man. You're like, you're lucky to be alive. Well, it's not good, you know, sitting in somebody's lunch bag all day. Learning Evolves states, maybe an unfavored comment, but Biggie is better than Pac, in my opinion. Pac just had more songs. Yeah, I mean, my thing is this, right? I probably can recite more of Biggie on the verses, right, than I can on Tupac. But it's just like when some of you guys ask me, Max, pick one, you know, like you guys will say something like H-Bar or Jasmy. I'm like, are you serious? You're going to ask me that? Or you'd be like, pick one, XRP or QNT. It's like, Max, pick ribeye steak or banana split. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for a banana split. Sometimes I move for a ribeye steak. Why do I got to pick one? You know, I'm diversified. Anyway, Biggie could freestyle better. I would agree with you on that, you know. But then again, they were all both on that, you know, show and prove. Pick up the mic. It's time to show and prove. You know, Wu-Tang, Killer Bees on the swim. Remember, you know, ODB. Jump in your area. Disco don't. Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was one of the best freestyles. You had a Big Daddy Kane, ODB, even you had Shaheem. He's part of the Wu-Tang family when he was a kid. Then you had Biggie, you had Tupac, you had Big Daddy Kane. I don't know. It was pretty cool. I think he even had Jay-Z when he used to rap fast back in those days. All right. One of my Frenchie's names is Max. You just made him jump up. Oh, yeah? Interesting. Well, does he have his money tied up in the Banque de France? Oui, oui. Merci beaucoup. All right. Just kind of having a good time. Larry Flint of Hustler. Yeah. All right. Let's go further down. T. Lynn says night. Have a good night, T. Lynn. You probably already left by now. 8:14. I'll have to end it here soon because I want to get my duck sauce and Chinese food. All right. 12-hour-old pancakes could give you. It didn't give me that. It gave me full projectile. You know what? Like disgusting. It was literally the guy who consumed too much. The blueberry pie eating contest guy from Stand By Me, right? And by the way, since I'm from Oregon, you better believe everybody in Oregon as a kid knew about that movie. There's some key movies that you know about, Stand By Me, obviously The Goonies, yeah, some other places. Mr. Holland's Opus, which has nothing to do with those other two. Anyway, you go with that. Ribeye, easy answer. Yeah, that's true. Thanks for all those utility coins, breakdowns, greens from New Zealand. Yeah, some shows are better than others. I get it. But thank you for that. Appreciate you. Yeah, he was. He changed up his style, though. I liked it a lot better when he was a lot faster, but it's whatever. Pathetic. Yeah, it's pretty bad, eh? It's pretty brutal. More sequel, cool. I can't even do it right now. I always do for this guy named Legrand Commission. He might be listening right now. I'll be like, he'll come up here and be like, "Hey Max, check out my tags about XRP," and I'll be like, Legrand Commission, oui, merci beaucoup. It's just that's all I can do is I can't really do anything. Cat Shields, thanks Max. Thanks for the updates. Appreciate it. Yeah, Cat Shields, you're a cat as well. Watch out for this guy right here. All right. And if things go south, okay, with the Cool Cat Crypto, little known tidbit, he has another avatar, and he was formerly known as the War Cat Crypto. So it's just a little warning right there, and that's a true story. All right, castor oil. Oh yeah, freaking rain and his castor oil. My God, that would create mud butt. Orb. Not sure why, but that movie reminds me of Ran. What movie? We hear you have a big app. Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was funny. That movie's classic. Yeah, believe it or not, when Cool Cat Crypto used to first watch CTN, he was known as War Cat Crypto. True story. He probably still has the avatar saved on his computer or his phone or wherever. Cool Cat, do you watch from your TV? Do you watch from your, do you watch from your phone? I don't know if it matters, but yeah, I remember it was a black cat and it had like yellow eyes or something like that. And his name was War Cat Crypto, and then he changed it to Cool Cat Crypto. So anyway, yeah, you guys should go on a little cat date. Have a little, have some catnip for a night cat cap. That don't even make sense. I don't even know where I'm going with this. All right. Let me see how I'm doing with time. I got 2 minutes, technically speaking. I need to really wrap things up, but yeah, we'll have to go pay attention to what Brian Dowie had earlier. Chris Larson, the whole X.com thing. X going to give it to you, right? For you trying to get on your own, X going to deliver it to you. I don't know. It still doesn't sound bad, but anyway. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll be back with you guys on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for more Crypto Talk Now. Know what you hold, know why you hold it, the research, Trump's FUD 110%. Just don't let your emotions get in the way of your future generational wealth. Just because you don't see something happen with a great project, for example, XDC, what's the proven thing that we can take away from all this? Sometimes when they don't produce a lot of news, they are building in the background. All right. And I think there's more than enough evidence to support that, not just with XDC. I mean, we saw it with Quant, we see it with a lot of other ones. Hedera, right? So Stellar, come on, guys. Stellar's been killing it when it comes to the recent news. Usually when it comes to Stellar, like, you don't see much news. You'd be lucky if you see one content creator come out with a video or a Twitter update like once a week. Notice all of a sudden there's a big floodgates of news, whether it's Cubis, the tools, Sorbonne. Again, guys, 70 projects that flip with a switch goes to the ecosystem. All we need, just a handful, not even that, maybe a couple key ones. I think that's definitely going to happen personally. People talk about supply shock or price shock, both. Yeah, you'll start seeing some big shock when it comes to this. But the X's, all this stuff, it's going to be awesome. All right, you guys have a great night. I'm going to read the last bit of comments. Workcat. Later, guys, from Orb, a.k.a. Brian Dowie. Glad to have you here, Brian. Shout out to the stepbrothers, both of these guys, Tim Shea and the other stepbrother. We still have not gotten a verification if Tim Shea is the, Will Ferrell of the two, or he's or if this guy, Brian Dowie, is John C. Riley. I don't know. Maybe you guys trade off. I don't know. But you guys are the stepbrothers of CTN. River and also Blackwood are the other two stepbrothers. They haven't chosen how that works. Glad to have you here, River. True says, thanks, man. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Much love and happy trading. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. It means a lot. You guys giving each other dabs. Brittany says goodnight. Thank you, Brittany. Here's a dab to you. Boom. Almost touching the camera. Not quite. Oh, my gosh. All right. Thanks, Max. Later, dudes. Who am I? I don't know. Who am I? What's my name? Orb. No, I don't know. That sounds bad. I don't know, man. I mean, you tell me. You get together with Tim Shea and you tell me who you're going to be. Are you Will Ferrell or are you John C. Riley of the stepbrothers? And then maybe by Monday we'll finally have it figured out. Or maybe you guys just trade on who's who. All right. Anyway, long story short, have a great night. And now I'm going to place in my order for my duck sauce. I'm going to tell them to put some duct tape and seal that thing. That way it doesn't spill over the place in my car. Cruising down the street in my duck sauce 6.4, I wish. Anyway, Tim can pick. You get with him on that. Yes. All right. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. Over and out.